Notable human fatalities have resulted from aviation accidents. Many of these famous people who died in plane crashes had a promising career and a life in front of them. In this video, we will talk about famous people who tragically died in a plane crash. Join us as we dive into this tragic but captivating tale of people who died in a plane crash. Salos Chelima.
Malawi's vice president and 9 others are dead after a plane crash. Crews found the wreckage this morning after it went missing yesterday. Air traffic control lost contact with the plane shortly after takeoff amid bad weather and low visibility. The group was traveling from the nation's capital to attend a funeral of a former government minister.
Salos Chelima was a Malawian economist and politician. On the 10th of June 2024, a plane carrying Chelima and 8 other passengers to attend a funeral crashed in the Chikangawa Forest Reserve in Mazimba district, killing all on board. He was 51 years old. About 41,000 people attended his funeral. James Horner.
501 now, and new from overnight. The agent for award-winning composer James Horner says Horner was the pilot who died in a Southern California plane crash. The agent says Horner was flying the single-engine aircraft that crashed and burned Monday morning in a remote forest area, 100 miles northwest of Los Angeles.
James Roy Horner was an American composer, conductor, and orchestrator of film scores, writing over 100. Horner, who was also an avid pilot, died on the 22nd of June 2015 at the age of 61 in a single fatality crash while flying his short Tucano turboprop aircraft. Aaliyah.
R&B sensation and actress Aaliyah Houghton's life was cut short on the 25th of August 2001 after she and 8 others died in an airplane crash shortly after takeoff from an island in the Bahamas. Nicknamed Baby Girl, the star and her entourage had just completed shooting the music video to her hit single Rock the Boat.
Aaliyah Houghton, known professionally as Aaliyah, was a trailblazer in music and film. She made her acting debut in the 2000 film Romeo Must Die, where her performance received positive reviews, leading to more film roles. Tragically, Aaliyah's life and career were cut short. She died at age 72 in a plane crash in the Bahamas on the 25th of August 2001. Roy Halladay.
Now showing former Major League Baseball star Roy Halladay had prescription drugs in his system when he died in that plane crash off the coast of Pasco County. The medical examiner's report says he had evidence of morphine and a drug typically used to treat insomnia. The autopsy finds that the former Major League pitcher died of blunt force trauma and drowning.
Halladay was an American professional baseball pitcher. On the 17th of November 2017, Halladay died when the Icon A5 Founders Edition amphibious aircraft he was piloting crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. He was 40. John F. Kennedy Jr. John Fitzgerald. Kennedy Jr. was an American attorney, magazine publisher, and journalist. He was the son of the 35th United States President. On the 16th of July, 1999, Kennedy Jr.'s life was cut short when he died in a plane crash. He was 38 years old. Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline was an American singer, considered one of the most influential vocalists of the 20th century. Tragically, on the 5th of March 1963, Cline's flight crashed in heavy weather, and everyone on board died. She was 30 years old at the time of her death. Rocky Marciano. Rocco Francis Marchegiano, better known as Rocky Marciano, was an American professional boxer. Sadly, on the 31st of August 1969, Marciano was a passenger in a small private plane. The aircraft hit a tree 2 miles short of the runway and all died due to the impact. He was 45 years old. Buddy Holly. Charles Hardin Holly, known professionally as Buddy Holly, was a pioneering American musician and songwriter. Tragically, Holly's life and career were cut short when he died in a plane crash on the 3rd of February 1959. He was 22 years old. Jim Crochi. James Joseph Crochi was a very excellent American folk and rock singer-songwriter, but sadly, on the night of Thursday, the 20th of September, 1973, Crochi and 5 others were killed when their chartered Beechcraft crashed into a tree shortly after takeoff. Crochi was 30 years old. Otis Reading. Otis Ray Reading Jr. was an American singer and songwriter. Unfortunately, he died on the 9th of December 1967 in a plane crash, though the cause of the crash was never determined. He was 26 years old. Leonard Skinnard. Leonard Skinnard is an American rock band formed in Jacksonville, Florida in 1964. The band lasted for only 13 years. Tragically, on the 20th of October 1977, the band boarded a chartered plane bound for Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where they were scheduled to appear the following night. The aircraft ran out of fuel and the pilots attempted an emergency landing before crashing into a heavily forested area. Michael J. Adams. Michael James Adams was an American aviator, aeronautical engineer, and USAF astronaut. Adams' 7th X-15 flight occurred on the 15th of November, 1967. The aircraft broke up 10 minutes and 35 seconds after launch, eventually killing Adams. He was 37 years old. Adolf II. Prince of Schaumburg-Lippe. Adolf II was the last ruler of the small principality of Schaumburg-Lippe in northwestern Germany. He and his wife were both killed in a plane crash in Zumpango, Mexico, on the 26th of March, 1936, while flying from Mexico City to Guatemala City in a Ford trimotor airplane. He was 53 years old. Davy Allison. Davy Carl Allison was an American NASCAR driver. On the 12th of July, 1993, when attempting to land the helicopter inside a fenced-in area of the track infield, the craft nosed up suddenly and crashed. Allison died due to a head injury. He was 32 years old. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bean. Bryant was an American professional basketball player. On the 26th of January 2020, due to light rain and fog that morning, the helicopter crashed into the side of a mountain and began burning. Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others were killed on impact. He was 41 at the time of death. Hans Alser. Hans Hasse Alser was a Swedish international table tennis player and later the head coach of West German and Swedish national teams. He died on the 15th of January, 1977 at 34, in a plane crash at Kallvesta near Stockholm. Roald Amundsen. Roald Engelbert, Gravning. Amundsen was a Norwegian explorer of polar regions. He died on the 18th of June, 1928 while flying on a rescue mission in the Arctic. The plane crashed in the Barents Sea. He was 56 years old. And Elsa Anderson. Elsa Theresia Anderson was Sweden's first female aviator and stunt parachutist. Unfortunately, in 1922, Anderson was killed on her 3rd jump in Askersund, Sweden. She had trouble releasing her parachute, which finally unfolded only at a small distance from the treetops, and she crashed violently into the ground. She was 24 years old. And Gunnar Andersson. Gunnar Andersson was a Swedish footballer who played as a striker. He is widely considered one of the best strikers in the Olympique de Marseille. He died on the 1st of October 1969, as he was heading to Stade Velodrome to see a match against Dukla Prague in the European Winners' Cup. He was 41 years old. David Angel. David Lawrence Angel was an American screenwriter and television producer known for his work in sitcoms. Angel and his wife, Lynn, were killed in the 2001 September 11 attacks at the World Trade Center in Manhattan. They were among the passengers of American Airlines Flight 11, who were all killed when the plane struck the north tower of the complex. He was 55 years old. The Milburn G apartment, Milburn Grant. Mel Abt was a United States Air Force test pilot. On the 27th of September 1956, Abt made his first and only X-2 flight. Subsequent loss of control from inertia coupling led to the plane's fatal crash. He was 32 years old. Abdul Salamarif. Abdul Salamarif was the 2nd president of Iraq. Sadly, he lasted for only 3 years. On the 13th of April 1966, Arif was killed in the crash of Iraqi Air Force de Havilland in southern Iraq, about 10 kilometers from Basra Airport. He was 45 years old. Garnet Bailey. Garnet Edward Ace. Bailey was a Canadian professional ice hockey player. He died when the plane in which he was traveling, United Airlines Flight 175, was hijacked and deliberately crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. He was 53 years old. Valentine Baker. Captain Valentine Henry Baker served in all three British armed forces during the First World War. During a test flight of the Martin Baker MB-3 prototype from RAF Wing in Buckinghamshire during the late afternoon of the 12th of September 1942, the engine seized, and he was forced into an emergency landing, during which the aircraft struck a tree stump, cartwheeled through a hedge, and he was killed. Baker was 54 years old. Daniel Balavoine. Daniel Xavier Marie Balavoine was a French singer and songwriter. Sadly, on the 14th of January 1986, Balavoine boarded a helicopter that encountered a desert storm and landed. Sometime later it took off again, but after a few minutes it crashed and disintegrated, killing all 5 on board, including Balavoine. He was 33 years old. GMC Balayogi. Ganti Mohana Chandra Balayogi was an Indian lawyer and politician. On the 3rd of March 2002, Balayogi died in a helicopter crash when the chopper began to lose height and the rotor hit the crown of one of the many coconut palms. Everyone in the helicopter died instantly. Balayogi was 50 years old. Frederick Banting. Sir Frederick Grant. Banting was a Canadian pharmacologist, orthopedist, and field surgeon. In February 1941, Banting died of wounds and exposure following a plane crash, where both of the plane's engines failed. Banting died from his injuries the next day. He was 49 years old. Heinrich Bar. Oscar Heinrich Pritzl Bar worked as a consultant and test pilot. On the 28th of April 1957, while conducting a routine flight check in a light aircraft, Bar put the plane into a flat spin, the final maneuver in the test process. The plane spun down to 50 meters. Unable to regain control, BAE was killed in the resulting crash. He was 43 years old. Sylvio Barbato. Silvio Sergio Bonacorsi. Barbato was an Italian-Brazilian opera conductor and composer. On the 1st of June 2009, he died on board Air France flight. He was 50 years old. Bill Barlico. William Bill Barilko was a Canadian ice hockey player. Barilko died on the 26th of August 1951 in a float plane crash during a fishing trip to Quebec. He was 24 years old. Rene Barrientos. Rene Emilio Barrientos Ortuno was a Bolivian military officer and politician who served as the 47th president of Bolivia twice non-consecutively. On the 27th of April, 1969, Barrientos was killed in a helicopter crash near Aruque, Bolivia. He was 49 years old. Charles Bassett. Charles Arthur Bassett was an American electrical engineer and United States Air Force test pilot. He died in an airplane crash during training for his first spaceflight on the 28th of February 1966. He was 34 years old. And Thomas Bata. Thomas Bata was a Czech entrepreneur and founder of the Bata Shoe Company. His career was cut short in 1932 on a business trip where he died in a plane accident due to bad weather conditions of dense local fog. He was 56 years old. Nick Begich. Nicholas Joseph Begich Sr. was an American counselor, educator, and politician. He died in the crash of a light aircraft in Alaska in October 1972. His body was never found. He was 40 years old. Barry Berenson. Barry was an American actress, model, and photographer. On the 11th of September 2001, she died in the September 11 attacks, being a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11. She was 53 years old. Brook Behringer. Brook Warren Behringer was an American quarterback for the University of Nebraska football team in the mid-1990s. Behringer died on the 18th of April, 1996, when the aircraft crashed in an alfalfa field. He was 22 years old. Carolyn B Kennedy. Carolyn Jean B Kennedy was the wife of attorney and publisher John F. Kennedy, Jr. She died on the 16th of July, 1999, in a plane crash. She was 33. Tony Bettinhouse Jr. Tony was a Champ Car team owner and driver who died in a light plane crash on the 14th of February 2000. He was 48 years old. George Burling. George Frederick Burling was the most successful Canadian fighter pilot and flying ace of the Second World War. He died on the 20th of May, 1948, when he was recruited to fly for the Israel Air Force. After a test flight, Burling fatally crashed the transport aircraft while landing. He was 26 years old. Among these famous human fatalities, which one grieved you the most? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below, and remember to subscribe to this channel. You can also explore the other videos on your screen.